Today, it's time to get schooled. And speaking of today, did you know that on this day, May 10th, 1869, the Central Pacific and the Union Pacific tracks were joined at Promontory, Utah, to form the first transcontinental railway in the United States? The construction project took 6 years, though government officials and industrialists took a lot of the credit. Make no mistake, the railroad was built on the backs of Irish and Chinese immigrants. When the last spikes were laid, the pounding could be heard live across telegraph lines. The last message sent that day across the wires was, "Done." A journey that typically took 6 months, a trek between New York City and San Francisco, could now be accomplished in less than 1 week. Jules Verne stated the events of this day inspired him to write the book Around the World in 80 Days in 1873. What seems to be the powerful lesson of this little tale is that we are indeed a nation of joiners. Published in 1835, foreign observer Alexis de Tocqueville's majestic book, Democracy in America, made this all too clear. A lengthy quote is worth every word. De Tocqueville wrote, "Americans of all ages, all conditions, and all dispositions constantly form associations. I met with several kinds of associations in America of which I confess I had no previous notion, and I have often admired the extreme skill with which the inhabitants of the United States succeed in proposing a common object for the exertions of a great many men and in inducing them voluntarily to pursue it. Thus, the most democratic country on the face of the earth is that in which men have, in our time, carried to the highest perfection the art of pursuing in common the object of their common desires, and have applied this new science to the greatest number of purposes. In this, the result of accident, or is there in reality any necessary connection between the principle of association and that of equality? A transcontinental railroad cured our commercial woes in 1869. Joining in association may indeed cure what ails us today. Psst. It's PROLOG with MR.REVIEW. It's a podcast that is actively digging tons of earth to find an ounce of gold, striving for a more perfect union.